In the early 1600s, Europe believed one thing without question, that the earth was the center of everything. The church, the crown, and every scholar agreed. The sun, the stars, and heaven itself revolved around us. But one man dared to question that truth. His name was Galileo Galilei. Galileo wasn't a nobleman. He was a scientist from Florence, poor in wealth but rich in curiosity. With his handmade telescope, he looked deeper into the heavens than anyone before him. He saw that the moon had mountains, that Jupiter had moons of its own, and he realized something shocking. The earth wasn't the center of the universe. The sun was. In those days, no discovery could survive without a patron, a powerful family willing to protect it. In Florence, that power belonged to the Medici family, rulers, bankers, and the beating heart of the Renaissance. Galileo knew that if he wanted his ideas to live, he needed their name behind his work. Galileo offered the Medici a telescope, not as a gift of science, but as a gift of power. He told young Cosimo too that the 4 moons of Jupiter he had discovered were a symbol of the Medici family itself, for heavenly bodies circling a powerful planet. It was a clever move. Galileo made the stars themselves part of their royal legend. The plan worked. The Medici family made Galileo their official philosopher and scientist. Overnight, he rose from a quiet academic to one of the most celebrated minds in Europe. The church watched, curious, suspicious, but silent. For now, Galileo was under the Medici shield. But Galileo couldn't stay quiet. He believed truth was greater than fear. In his books, he openly defended the idea that the earth moved around the sun, the theory of Copernicus which the church had already condemned as heresy. And though his logic was sound, his timing was dangerous. In a world ruled by kings and priests, truth was only allowed if it served power. Galileo's fame spread across Europe. The Medici tried to protect him, but the church began to see him as a threat, a man who challenged divine order. In 1633, Galileo was summoned to Rome by the Inquisition, the same institution that had burned men alive for lesser crimes. They accused him of spreading lies that could weaken faith. They forced him to kneel and swear that the earth did not move, even though he knew it did. The Medici could not save him now. Galileo looked up at the judges, then whispered words that would echo for centuries. And yet, it moves. Galileo was sentenced to house arrest for the rest of his life. The Medici family remained polite but distant, unwilling to anger the church further. Still, Galileo continued to write in secret. His ideas spread quietly through Europe, shaping the future of science. He lost his freedom, but his truth survived. Galileo's story is not only about science, it's about power. He understood that truth alone was not enough. Truth needed protection. That's why he tied his discoveries to the Medici, because even the brightest mind needs a shield of influence. But in the end, even powerful patrons can't protect you from the wrath of kings and priests when your ideas shake their thrones. Today, every telescope that looks up at the stars carries Galileo's spirit. He showed the world that no authority, not even the church, could stand against reason forever. The Medici name has faded into history, but Galileo's name lives in every classroom, every observatory, and every person who dares to question. This was Tales of Kings and Power. Subscribe for more true stories of ambition, genius, and the price of standing too tall. Because in history, power always has a cost, and truth always demands a sacrifice.